Hey there, motorcycle enthusiasts. Today's topic is really important for you all. Why should I drain the float bowls of my motorcycle's carburetors if it's going to sit for a long time? This is a topic that gets discussed a lot. A lot of people say, "Oh, I've never done that, and it always works fine." But today I can show you that draining the float bowl before a long period of storage is a really important step. And I'll also show you why. Alright, let's get started, folks. At the bottom of the carburetor, on the float bowl, you have a drain screw, this one here, and next to it, this little nipple. If you loosen this screw a bit, the fuel inside will start to drain out here. Okay, now I'm going to take this off. So basically, this is just a drain screw, and inside here you have the float. Let me show you real quick. Here's a quick explanation of how it works. The float is basically a hollow plastic body that can move around in here. And we're capturing this for you right now. I'll point it out. Here, this part up front, that's the float needle valve. So, when there's enough fuel level in the float bowl, the float rises and closes the valve. If there's not enough, it opens up and basically lets fuel flow in continuously, depending on how much you're using at the moment. When the motorcycle is standing still, the valve is closed and inside the chamber. Of course, there's fuel. You might have already noticed earlier when I turned the float bowl around here. These green deposits inside are from evaporated fuel. These are additives that remain behind there, and sometimes also components of bioethanol. This here is still the harmless version, but this layering happens everywhere in the carburetor when the fuel slowly evaporates during long periods of inactivity. That means not just here it's the least dangerous, but also in all the jets, nozzles, drillings, and channels. This buildup of layers eventually causes the carburetor to get clogged and just not work properly anymore. Alright, let's keep going and I'll show you some really extreme examples on this topic. Yeah, just like I promised. This is what it looks like when a machine sits unused for a few years, or even just under unfavorable conditions. Because often, for some people, it works out fine if you don't drain it. So this is really quite an extreme example. And for others, it just doesn't work. Why is that? You can even see here that the entire carburetor is covered in deposits. Normally, there's not even supposed to be any fuel in this spot. That's absolutely correct. But the fuel evaporates slowly because the carburetor has a vent or an overflow. And this evaporated gas with the fuel condenses everywhere on all the metal parts. And wherever it condenses, it dries up again, leaving behind the additives and bioethanol residues. So my urgent tip for you is to open this little screw down here before leaving it unused for a long time. Place a small container under this little nipple to catch the fuel, and ideally pour it right back into the tank. Carburetor empty, tank full, that way you can handle any period of disuse and simply avoid these problems. And one last example for today. This is a 4-carburetor bank, which hasn't been sitting and used for quite as long yet. We'll try to capture this nicely for you here. Oh, look at that. Yeah, you can see the black stuff here. Yummy, yummy. That's what it looks like when it hasn't even been 2 or 3 years yet. So there's still a bit of residual moisture in the fuel. These are the remains that are now starting to clump together. I don't need to explain to you how that behaves in a carburetor. Anyone with a bit of imagination can picture that. Inside here, it also looks nice and green again in the float chamber. Yeah, folks, if these were important tips for you, then remember to share the video. Subscribe and show me with a like that I should keep going and that you want to know a bit more about it.